You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. Pope Leo has responded to President Donald Trump's attack on him over the Iran war. In a now deleted post on Truth Social, Trump posted this image of him. The president accused the Pope of being weak on crime and catering to the radical left. Now, the Pope responded to these comments today, saying he does not fear the Trump administration. And in just a moment, we'll hear from Long Islanders about what they think about these comments. And only in Newsday, the former president of Adelphi has pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct and reckless driving after crashing into a train station. Christine Reardon agreed to pay the Long Island Railroad $140,000 to repair the damages. The 61-year-old was originally charged with drunk driving. The crash happened last September at the Garden City station. And multiple families in Deer Park are homeless after a fire burned through an apartment complex for the second time in 3 years.
I have never experienced something like this, and it was definitely scary, and I feel, very sad and bad for people who had to, lost their houses.
16 of the 56 units at the Maple Crest Garden Apartments were destroyed or damaged by smoke. One firefighter was taken to the hospital for burns during the Sunday afternoon flames. No residents were hurt. All right, let's take a quick look at tomorrow's weather. It was a decent day today, but there were a bit of clouds and a little bit of rain at one point. But tomorrow it's going to be much better. Temps near the 70s. We'll have clouds overhead. And of course, we'll have that 7-day forecast for you later in the broadcast. Long Islanders are speaking out on President Trump's criticism of Pope Leo. Virginia Huey has the story.
Outside St. Agnes Cathedral in Rockville Center, the talk before noon mass was about President Donald Trump's fiery rhetoric against the Pope.
It's terrible. It's very insulting.
President Trump blasted Pope Leo as being too liberal, weak on crime, and terrible on foreign policy in a lengthy tirade on social media over the weekend. Trump also posted an apparently AI-generated image that depicted himself as Jesus.
I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person. And he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime.
Pope Leo, the first U.S.-born pontiff, quickly hit back, telling reporters he had no fear of the Trump administration.
Don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly against war, looking to promote peace.
Tensions have been mounting for months between the Vatican and the White House, with Pope Leo's criticism of the war in Iran growing more pointed in recent days.
Too many people are suffering in the world today. Too many innocent people are being killed. And I think someone has to stand up and say, there's a better way to do this.
He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
Many of the faithful here at St. Agnes Cathedral said the president's post shows there really are no boundaries when it comes to the people the president might target, including the leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics.
He's about the negative in people. He's always naming people negative names, and for him to disregard the Pope and disrespect the Pope takes it to another level of his disrespect for other people.
I was originally for Trump, but the picture of him dressing like Jesus was terrible.
This is Donald Trump. There's no explanation for the things that he does.
Following widespread condemnation from Catholic leaders and the international community, the image depicting the president as Jesus was deleted from Trump's Truth Social account by mid-Monday. But the president refused to apologize for his attacks on Pope Leo.
There's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Muslims on Long Island are fighting fierce opposition, trying to expand their house of worship. Here at the Hillside Islamic Center in New Hyde Park, worshipers pray during Ramadan, bundled in hats, hoodies, and winter jackets because it's below freezing, and they're in an overflow outdoor tent warmed by space heaters.
No one wants to be freezing cold and praying, especially if you're in the floor outside here, 10 degrees, 20 degrees, super cold.
The center has been trying for years to expand by adding a third story and more than 60 additional parking spots, but the town of North Hempstead rejected the plan in 2024, saying the expansion violates its code. In the rejection, the town, referencing traffic and parking violations in the vicinity, wrote that the plan would, quote, turn the residential area into a parking lot similar to commercial use. The board finds this incompatible with the residential character of the neighborhood. The center sued the town and won, but the town filed an appeal. Earlier this month, the center also filed a federal lawsuit accusing the town of violating federal religious land use laws.
You cannot say it's impact my worship because it's on my head and heart. But the thing is, it's the feeling of other people, those who cannot come, because we don't have any space. We want the facility that we deserve.
Now, this is not the only mosque expansion that's being challenged here on the island. There's another in Bethpage. Joining me to dig more into this issue is my colleague at Newsday, Josh Needleman. He covers the town of North Hempstead. Also, Abdul Bhuyan, the Hillside Islamic Center's chairman of the Board of Trustees, and Luke Goodrich, the vice president of the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty, a nonprofit law firm. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Josh, we're going to start with you. These mosque expansions being fought in two different towns, opposite ends of Nassau and North Hempstead. A town spokesperson said in a statement, quote, the matter ultimately centers on the quality of life for residents living near the center and the town's effort to balance those concerns, particularly around traffic, safety, and parking, with the interests at stake. In Oyster Bay, a town spokesperson said in a statement, the Oyster Bay Town Code is applied equally to libraries, theaters, museums, and houses of worship. So, Josh, a little bit more. What's behind all this pushback?
Yeah, so in North Hempstead, actually, in 2023, the town's planning board recommended approval for this site plan, and of course went to the town board, and after a series of public hearings, the town ended up rejecting the expansion. A lot of residents complained about what they perceived to be nuisances around the mosque at the time, parking issues, traffic issues, and the town ended up rejecting the proposal. Very similar in Oyster Bay, the town ended up changing its parking requirement to have it be matched on occupancy rather than square footage. And then later on, they ended up actually changing the code again to apply the same standard to secular facilities. Again, similar to North Hempstead, parking concerns, traffic concerns, and the fear that expansion would exacerbate those issues in both towns.
All right, Abdul, let's turn to you. You heard the town's objections. Fair, unfair?
Very unfair. It is unfortunate that we have to go through all this thing at the expense of the taxpayers' money. And in the case of Hillside Islamic Center, that our application is everything within the zoning. We didn't ask for variance except for the setback, where the town actually changed the setback rules from the 13 feet to now 20 feet. So that's the only minor the variance that we are looking for at this time. If we go through all this thing. But as far as the town complain about the quality of life, the traffic, and we've been there for since 2003 in active center. There's never been any accident. The issues that they're raising, they were the inequality of life and all this thing. What do they mean by quality of life? When we first moved here, the houses were selling. If you walk on the street, you would have seen the houses were breaking apart, stoops are falling apart. Now you go there and mansions are there. Mm-hmm. Quality of life, meaning our school system, our New Harper Road School is one of the greatest schools right now. Mm-hmm. And if you go there, have beautiful homes, lawns are well taken care of, streets are clean. If that's not a quality of life they're looking for, I'm just completely confused. What are they looking for? Yes, you have more people coming in because of the center. When the center is active, people come in there and they pray. They mind their own business and they go about, after finishing prayer, they leave.
Luke, I'd like to get you involved in this here. Do you think this is all part of a larger issue? Do you sense any kind of discrimination behind the decisions by the towns?
These sorts of conflicts are a very common legal issue in communities across the country.
But what's at stake here is a fundamental First Amendment right to worship, free exercise of religion. Unless you're on a boat or on an airplane, you worship on land and you gather with other people. And building a house of worship is a fundamental act of religious exercise that every faith group in the country needs to engage in. The issue is that houses of worship are often unpopular in the zoning context. They may be unpopular in residential areas because people say they bring too much traffic. They may be unpopular in commercial areas because people say they don't bring enough traffic. And they may be unpopular simply because people don't like the faith that they profess. There are cases of discrimination. And the problem is the zoning context is highly discretionary. You have these boards that operate with very vague standards, consistent with the nature of the community and things like that. And it makes it very easy to mask discrimination toward a particular faith group.
Josh, in your reporting, did you catch any vibes of that from town officials or residents or anything that you suspected? I'm talking about, discrimination.
Yeah, they've denied that. In North Hempstead specifically, they've insisted it's really just about quality of life. And in fact, in their state lawsuit, the town argued that they don't have to make zoning exceptions for religious institutions. That's not necessarily something that they have to follow. So for them, it's really just about maintaining quality of life, parking, traffic. They've said that a mosque expansion could lead to an overstraining of resources, potentially making it difficult for emergency vehicles to pass through. Yeah, they've both adamantly denied that discrimination plays any role.
All right, topic we could go on much more about, a big one here on Long Island and all across the country. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I want to thank you all for being here to talk about this important topic. You could read more about the battle over the mosque expansions on the island, how much legal fights are costing the towns, on Newsday.com.
Elementary school students are back in their classrooms after a fire damaged the building last month. Virginia Huey has a story in Laurel Hollow.
What a difference a month makes. After a fire damaged parts of Westside Elementary School on March 10th, school is now back in session.
Hi guys, welcome back.
The faculty welcome back students to a beautifully restored building. New floors, lighting, and furniture in the classrooms. The instruments in the orchestra room were professionally cleaned. Historic artifacts in the school were also saved, cleaned, and placed in showcases. Students and faculty said they missed being at Westside Elementary during the 4-week restoration process, and they're excited and grateful to be back.
I think it's important to do it quickly for them to come back home. Our kids are as young as second graders here at Westside School, so this is what they're used to. This is their home place. Their teachers are here, so it was kind of changing up when they had to go for those 5 weeks.
It didn't feel normal going to Lloyd Harbor, and I missed Westside a lot. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally it came, and the school looks better than it ever been.
And what's your review of how they did?
11 out of 10. Our room, I'm so thankful that the fire didn't hit it, so that they didn't have to spend more money to rebuild. And I'm thankful that the firefighters were able to come very fast, put out the fire in time, that it didn't spread across the whole school. And then that made it so that we could get back into the school way quicker.
Now, the library wing sustained the most fire damage. We're told it'll take another year or so before it can be reopened. For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Out East with Doug Geed is brought to you by Connect One Bank, a better place to be.
What's old is new again. Lumber and salt in Jamesport is attracting antiquers from all over. Let's head out east with Doug Geed.
How many of you are old enough to remember these? They're called Viewmasters. Might seem a little primitive now, but when they came out, boy, they were very popular. They came with these little wheels with different scenes. You'd put them right in here and be taken off to some foreign land. Well, this is just one of the many, many unique things you'll find at a place called Lumber and Salt in Jamesport. I'm Doug Geed, out east on Newsday TV. We
We deal in architectural salvage, reclaimed materials, agricultural products, plants, things for the garden and home, a lot of repurposing of objects and material.
John Mazer loves to collect old things.
So these are European. This would be a grain bin. It probably was in a mercantile 100 years ago. They would probably have flour or grains or seeds that you could buy.
Mazer scours Long Island and areas around the tri-state looking for all kinds of things that people might want to buy for their home, or things that can be refurbished for a new purpose, or things they themselves turn into something new. They turn these industrial metal barrels into hanging light fixtures.
We have repeat customers every single week that are coming back because our product is ever changing. You can get a little mug or, something under $10, or you can walk out with an antique door that's, over $2,000.
Mazer's partner Brooke Cantone says the turnover of what they sell is high.
Every week, you never know what you're going to come in to find. It's a treasure trove of objects and material and product. We found that if you like it, get it, because the likelihood of it being there when you come back is low.
Mantles that people refurbish for their homes are a big seller. Tables are also a popular item, including this one from a school.
We just got that in. They're old cafeteria-style tables with cast iron bases, the swing-out stools.
Lumber and Salt has also done furnishing projects for many wineries, farm stands, and other local shops.
There's no real formula to what we do. We like what we like, and we know what we are going to do, but no two design projects are the same.
So whether you're looking for a small knick-knack or looking to renovate a room in your home, you might want to browse around here. You just might come up with a bright idea. In Jamesport for Newsday TV, I'm Doug Geed.
Only in Newsday, youth baseball in Brentwood just got a boost thanks to the Suffolk Police Athletic League. Matt Lindsay has the story.
The effort to revitalize youth baseball in Brentwood just got a big boost. The Suffolk Police Athletic League donated more than $5,000 of equipment to Brentwood baseball a week ahead of the brand new Little League's opening day.
I saw that an opportunity to possibly help the community in Brentwood by getting PAL involved, because we realized that they may need some assistance.
We in Brentwood Baseball believe in giving our kids twice the baseball for half the price, and we really mean that.
Reaching out to Tom, he said if we could help him with some equipment, that would make it more affordable for the kids to be able to play and grow his program. If we give children opportunity, they will migrate to it, and they will take those opportunities further.
Thank you so much.
We're all about the kids. It's what we do, what we've been doing for 30, 40 years. And the evidence of 200 kids wanting to play shows the need here in the Brentwood community.
In Brentwood, I'm Matt Lindsay for Newsday TV.
I bet those kids are happy with their new gear. All right, so let's take a look at your 7-day forecast to see how the week is shaping up. And as you can see, tomorrow we are in the 70s. We have some rain to deal with on Friday, but again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to be gorgeous out. We will have to deal with some skies, and half of the weekend looks a bit wet, but hopefully that'll move out.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
Now, for more on the stories you've seen here today, head over to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. I'm Ken Buffa. More news coming up.
There's more to Long Island than you know when you picture this. Join Macy Eglin for a journey through some of the major moments in Long Island's past through the lens of the Newsday archives. Picture This, available now at Newsday.com/picture this.